Flight crew, please prepare for takeoff. At this time, I'm going to ask that you fasten your seatbelts.
Oh, so here's what it is. So you were asking me the question about how I felt in groups, and the projectors are supposed to, their work is one-on-one, right? So I've really been contemplating that because, in Tucson, I did a lot of groups. A friend of mine wanted me to do stuff for her, and then she'd say, "Oh, let's do this in a group," and she'd create the group. And then my friend in Switzerland, she creates the group, and then I go, and it's all fine. Right. So if the invitation is correct,
then it
all flows.
Right.
But in the meantime, I really feel like my work is one-on-one. I just read this projector book. I thought I had it right here. Wait. There's a projector book. It's about being a projector, and it's written by a woman who studied with Karen Curry Parker. But in it, there's 5 kinds of projectors.
Which in our authority, you mean? Like 5 different,
And so she has samples for each of the one, and John F. Kennedy, Bernie Sanders,
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama. So
Charles, Prince Charles, only King Charles.
Right. Awesome. So were they leading because they were correct in their one-on-one relationships? Did they receive the correct invitations so that when they were in a group, people could hear them? I really have been contemplating this. Valid. So did he get an invitation that, he seems like a pretty happy person. If you've seen him you've seen him interviewed or...
Yeah, but have you seen how much he grayed from the beginning when he started his presidency, and then just 1 year later he was totally gray? So they sucked the life right out of him.
They sucked the life right out of him. I agree. But in general, even though, yes, true, but he doesn't seem like a bitter person.
Yeah, but I also know that a lot of outside stuff can be a facade. Because I've put on that mask so many times when I was depressed, and believe me, nobody would notice because I always look perfect,
It's so interesting to me that, good or bad, right or wrong, I'm not making claims about what they did, but, powerful presidents have been projectors.
Yeah, true. I even believe that, what was his name? Very important in the wars with the South.
Lincoln.
Yes, Lincoln. I believe he was a projector too, right? Yeah.
So it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
So this we come back around to now our open centers, because that was something I wanted to talk to you about. When we have open centers, we are projecting what other people...
Yeah, we're taking it in, and because we're amplifying, we're throwing that out. Yeah.
So it's like it comes into the satellite dish and then it beams out, and that's what people don't like, when we beam out what they've put into our open centers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if they're beaming into me the self, then I'm beaming back to them, amazing, you're in the self.
Joyful, yeah, right. But if there's a distortion, then you're sensing that too. Yeah.
And so how does that beam out? Because it's not just projectors, right?
No, it's everybody. It's me too. I have an open spleen, I have an open G, I have an open ego. So I'm amplifying the not self-worthiness of people. So I felt very personal of not being worthy. And my mother didn't feel worthy. So I felt like I was nothing to nobody when I was young. I was amplifying her.
Your mother didn't feel worthy. So you took that in as your own. So then you didn't feel worthy. And then you projected out to her that she wasn't worthy. Is that your open center?
It's not. No, because I wasn't aware back then, I took it personally. So I held it in.
Okay.
So it doesn't always it's not always being thrown out there. I feel that in this case, and maybe even the illnesses come from there if we hold it in, if we take it personal, because I feel with a lot of open centers, solar plexus open center, a lot of people just take in the emotional waves and distorted waves of emotions and the lower vibration emotions, and they just, I'm hearing the word fed up, and meaning like eating and eating disorders, and even becoming so frustrated, and even the bitter and everything of each aura type, and then at some point just bursting out, and then maybe even going to a mental hospital. I don't know why I'm saying that, but
rehab or
right, yeah, or addictions, to just push it away, not feeling what comes in.
So with the open center, I love this example with your mother. So you took that in. So then your open centers weren't beaming out that.
No.
But if, as you've grown, because now you've grown, right, expanded, so you don't take in other people's inadequacy.
I don't think so. I can sense it, but then I have to come back to self, and I kind of sensing that I'm doing that automatically, because I go like, I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to doubt about myself. I have that open 63. I have nothing to doubt, And so there comes in that, like you do, that little bit of self-reflection, like, why am I doubting myself? And then, but even then, when I'm now thinking about it, I feel like I'm not even taking it personal anymore. I'm just feeling the not worthiness when people bring it to me. I know it, and I know how to address it. I wrote down an example of even this weekend. Friends of mine, they asked if we would come over for a drink because they had some other friends coming. And I was like, yeah, sure, it felt right, so I'm really honoring my response. And even though it was one couple, we didn't have how you say that, I don't have such a connection with them, and the other people were new. So I was like, yeah, just go in, well, fine, just come for my friend and we'll see what happens. And then the funny thing is, at some point, it always comes to what I do, and not even about what I do, but they come towards me with a conversation, with a question, and it was about children. And because everybody had their children with them, and this one was 15 years old, a boy, and then she started about, how difficult puberty is and this and that, and like boom, boom, boom. I just gave her questions back, making her conscious and aware of her behavior towards her son. Like she was smothering him, and she was like not acknowledging him for who he is, because I was kind of sensing he was a projector, a very intelligent projector. And she was going around about friends, and then the friends leaving him, and that he needed to make up with them, because if he didn't have friends, then he was all alone. And I was like, but if those boys are leaving him behind for something, aren't they good friends? they're not good friends, right? So sort of this. And then she said, yes, but I want him to stand up for himself and da da da. I said, but what if he's not like that? What if he's fine by himself? I literally said to her, I feel like you're not accepting him for who he is. You're pushing him to be you. Because you feel like you have to defend yourself and you have to be strong and you have to have a lot of friends and this and that. Because I know the projectors, they love their clean field and they need to be with people that resonate with them because that feels nice. If you open G, you know all about it. I know all about it. If it doesn't feel nice, just leave them there. They're not the right people. So that's kind of an example. And I only became aware of it because my husband watched and heard how I just point, like psychologically and sensing, feel, just gave the right sentences and the right questions and the right pinpoints to make her aware. And then on the other end, I had a conversation. She had a little girl, and somehow we came to, how to educate or how to raise a little child. And in the same line, there was this question, what do you do? I said, well, I call myself in Dutch is kind of the same word, a consciousness guide. So, and even in Dutch, I have unorthodox consciousness guide, but then in Dutch, because I just like the word unorthodox. Because it's different, So she was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. And then I started explaining, and not by head. When I leave the head, everything, all the 48 stuff just comes out, with the right brain. When the right brain is invited, it just flows. And I wasn't thinking because I had a little bit of wine, And then so I created a chart of a child, and I don't know, I changed my language. I heard myself speak differently about how I would normally read a chart. I was like, huh? And I was just going with it. And then even my husband said it afterwards, like, you were in your magic. You can like just go to the deepest and then pull that needle out for them, but in such a gracious and straight but soft way. And I don't know. Where was I going with this? I don't know.
But we were talking about the projection or not projection, taking in and how,
yes,
this whole thing of.
Yeah. So I guess if I'm even setting those doors open for my open centers, I can read the other and know, because I have that 48 in an open spleen, I know maybe which language to use. Or what to address, what are her insecurities? Because with my open G, I can, or with my open ego, I can feel her insecurities. And she was very insecure about if she was doing well as a mother. So then she said I want to make an appointment when the time is right, because now I'm quite busy, but I want to pay you and such a shut. And I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just being of service,
Which is so beautiful, because then you were satisfied.
I was satisfied, yeah. And I was invited to share, because I do have a projected gates that need to be invited. And I even now, what just came to me is I gave them direction with my 2.3 in my SQ, in my open G, the only gate that I have there. Oh no, the 46 I also have, but
So you were taking in her.
Yeah. Oh, do I have to translate what I was sensing with her? I felt largely with the one woman, I felt her insecurity.
Right.
Which is, I feel both the ego and the G center. I was sensing that she was looking for the right direction. How can I be a mother? Can I address this? Can I say that? And, I was sharing about her daughter was a manifesting generator, and she had the channel 3420 and another one, and I know that very well. They're very busy people. And she had a defined head and ashna with the 63-4, and I know that one very well. So I was like, well, she can be quite busy in her little head, and a lot of thinking. And she said, yeah, she comes with a lot of questions. Oh no, I said, like, she's probably asking you a lot of questions, right? She said, yes, all the time. Why this and why that? And I was laughing inside myself, because I was like that as a child. I don't know about you, but maybe you probably were asking a lot of questions. And so and what I was, so I was sensing that she was looking for a direction and searching for, am I being a right mother? So the value of her, I was giving value to her as a mother by saying these things she can pay attention on as a mother, having this manifesting generator child. Because I was just sharing with her, if you consider this with her and just address this, and I don't know even how I did it, because most of the time I can't repeat what I said in the moment. But that, these are the two things I was definitely sensing and tuning into when I spoke to her. Yeah.
Okay, so you have, let's just use insecurity. So the insecurity of being a mother. So you sense her insecurity that comes in. It doesn't sit in you because you understand it, right? And so then you don't hold it in and process it yourself.
I translate it. I feel so like I translate it. So not amplify it, but translate it.
So you amplified it, but using the questions in your projector field and your wisdom, and it came out in a way that she could receive it.
Right. Right.
But when we amplify it or project it back, sometimes people can receive it and sometimes they can't. And I have this awareness. So sometimes, is that about us or is that about them? You know, when is it about us and when is it about them?
I think that if it's about us, it's because we're coming from the ego. Ego in this way, not in the center ego, but in ego in a way that we want to perform, or we want the acknowledgement, or because then we're talking heads. I feel that when it comes from our heart, then people are always going to be able to receive, unless they're so blocked in that open center that they just push it away. Like with the solar plexus, the ones with open solar plexus have the tendency to just avoid confrontations and truth and emotional situations. They don't want to go there. They just avoid everything. And I see that as a blockage. You have become so afraid, if we're talking about fears, you have become so afraid of emotional turbulence that you just leave it. So when truth comes your way, you just don't want to feel that. But I do believe that if we come with the right frequency at the right moment, at the right time, and now I'm sensing the open throat, because sometimes the open throat can speak while it's not the right time yet to speak. And over speaking. So then people are not able to listen. And when I speak, but behind it is my open ego, I feel that I'm not being received because there's another intention behind it, or there's another layer to what I'm speaking to. And that makes it corrupt. So then people aren't able to receive what I'm saying. And I'm saying that because I saw flashes of situations where people were able to receive what I was saying. And it was only when I came from the purity of me. And then they're always open. They're fascinated by what I'm saying.
This is so on point. Like I knew, like we're getting to some juiciness for me of the open centers. And you know, Elizabeth who lives with me, you know, we've been friends a really long time, and she's lived with us now 2 years, and I lived with her part-time, you know, when I was in Hawaii for almost a year. And what I've noticed lately, I've just been observing it. We go walk in the forest and she might be sharing. And, you know, it's like this, you and I, right? For me.
Right.
And I'm just in my place of my open heart, you know, and I'm listening to her. And she'll say something. And we use different words because, you know, she's not so into this or whatever. She's into her own people or, you know, whatever. And I'm listening and I'm like, oh, and I'll take it in. I'll go, oh, that's kind of like blah, blah. And I'm really being in my heart, right? And it doesn't matter what I say. She'll say no.
Sorry. You know what that is? I think, and I'm just going to shoot from my mouth, is that she feels inadequate with you when you're saying that.
Because she has, and the beauty is, it doesn't matter if it's just she and I, or if it's she, I, and Trey. The only center we have open, all you know, we're 8-1, have some fun, is the open ego.
Right.
And you know, it like will hit me because I'm like, I'm so right there with her, and I'm just, you know, like in my own field, and I'm just being with my friend who I think can receive me.
Yeah, but she thinks she has something to prove towards you because of your wisdom. Well, you're not meaning that. It's her own insecurity. It's that open ego. It's that insecurity over there, the value. Yeah.
And so then that's the projection. That's when I'm being the mirror back.
Right.
That is her work, not my work.
Right.
But my work then is, you know, I'm noticing myself, like when we go for a walk and she'll say something, I try to just like,
yeah.
Because it's like, I can't be myself with her because she takes it personally. But then there's the whole thing of, okay, well then by continuing to choose to be in her field with her, am I choosing to put a basket on my light?
Yeah.
Am I choosing the not self? I mean,
you're compromising. I'm sorry, but you are compromising them because she's not able to accept you for who you are, but she is expecting that you are accepting her for who she is. And that's not quite fair.
Yeah, I have a feeling she's going to probably move out soon because of exactly what you just said. So,
yeah, and it's your choice to not become aware of that not self-centered, because you have a solution for that. You have a solution to let your friendship grow if she was open to that mirror, if she could see herself through your eyes and vice versa. But it needs an opening of the heart, and it doesn't matter if you have an open G-center or not. The opening of the heart is difficult for all of us because it makes us vulnerable. But I believe in the strength of vulnerability.
Right.
You know.
This, I think, is the juiciness for me where we are in talking about open centers, because there's this really fine distinction of if I'm in relationship one-on-one with someone, and I'm in that relationship not feeling good enough or like I have something to prove,
right,
then my vibration is going to be off. And of course, they're not going to be able to hear it. But if I am truly in myself, and I mean, that's what happens, I think, from, you know, I'm really trying to pay attention that how when I'm with someone, I'm so locked into them. And I have this capacity for great presence, that I'm really, truly right there with them.
Yeah, that's the power of the projector. You are in my aura, like zoom, right? to the core. So that's with everybody in your field when you're with them one-on-one. Yeah.
And so then I'm there with them, and my perception is, because you've chosen to be in this hike with me, this journey with me, whatever the journey is, you chose that. You must enjoy when my beak is in your G.
Yeah.
And if you can't receive, then it's, for me, I think my learning point, my edge, is just making this distinction that we just went over. Like you with your example with that woman, because you were in a line, you were sharing your alignment, and your field must have known that it was the right moment. Yes. Because it's not just that you're in a line and your wisdom
I'm sensing if it's there's a possibility or not. Because I sometimes I only have to ask one question or say one word to know if I can or want to proceed in what needs to be said. And sometimes I just zip it because I know they're not ready. And how I know, I don't know, but I just know. Yeah.
Yeah, my knowing is coming through, and maybe I'm learning the awareness between, there's the place of contribution and that not being received, and then, okay, well, I know. Okay, so when that happens, just an example, when that happens on a walk, I stop. I know I'm not invited. I just listen and be present.
Right.
And then somewhere before the actual engagement, there's a moment where you can know before.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment before that. And before that. So then when you're so aware that you don't even choose to go on that hike because you know, like, oh, I want to go for a walk in the woods, but this person is not going to be able to receive me on any level. So is that going to be a satisfying walk? Or would you
not
be
for
better
you?
off walking?
Right.
Huh?
And I think for you, what's important to start listening to, or you're already doing, but maybe pay more attention to, is it maybe it's not the right language, but is it satisfying for you? Does it tickle your teeth? Is it juicy for you to go on that walk with this person? Or are you just doing it because I'm your friend? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with the right time and the right place, I suddenly became, or I remembered my 46 in that open G. And that's the placement of also of luck, like your husband has, being in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm picking that up in that open G. And then knowing if people are open to receive, because I have that 2.3, you know, and knowing where to lead them. And I feel that I'm always then being guided by my 31 and the 33. You know, the 33 is the past, the 31 is the future. And then going, I feel even the 63 there in the middle is guiding the question towards towards the future and the past. So I'm always inquiring about how was this and how is that. And yeah, I don't know.
That's something very interesting that you just touched on. So you said the 63 and then the 33
and the 31
and then the 31. Well, they're all on the central channel, but your 63 is above the 33. So I've also, so what you're pointing to is something I've been curious about, is that, you know, when we see all of those circuits, so it's this, it's like this circuit or that circuit, and it shows all the connections, right? So when you say that, you're looking at the central channels. And so I've been wondering, so you got the 63, the 33, the 46. like channel within you, like the 63 pulsing, the 33 pulsing, the 46 pulsing. There's a gap between each one of those.
Yeah.
But man, then when you look down, you got in the root, you've got the 52-9. Whoosh, the energy's pulsing. Whoosh. And then it has to jump over that 29 to 46.
I'm a great hiker.
You know, it's like, is that whole channel like trying to unite, you know,
Yeah.
pulsing to unite?
Yeah.
I mean, that when I look at your chart, that's one of the strongest, other than yeah.
The only channel really I've got is the 952, because the 35 is on the on my notes, the 35, you know, so it's kind of, I feel like it, but I asked Leanne, like that's my past, you know, but she says, no, you haven't lost your solar plexus activation or anything. It's something you can access, but no longer need to be involved in, but you can access it when needed. So I kind of feel like I only have this one channel, the channel to focus and concentrate in the right time, at the right moment. So maybe it is not even my 46, maybe it is my 952, you know, having that energy and fuel to sense like now is the moment to share, because I'm all about sharing. Because it's I can't do that for hours. It's like in the moment, and it's for that person. Yeah, it's exactly that, because I also, even though I am a 4-6 manifesting generator, you know, capable of being in groups, I do feel that you get the best out of me when I focus on you.
Well, and then combine everything you just said with the God code, persisting at service, which is another layer to what you just described.
Right. Yeah.
Ooh. Gives me the chills. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you know what's even funnier? Because I really went in, I was never been so focused like I was today into exploring those fear and anxiety stuff. So
I want to hear that.
Yeah, you've got one more hour. But I went into, I don't know why. Yeah, I know why, because I wanted to go into the pod calls, but somehow I was going to a call, and when I feel that draw, I just start playing. And it was kind of was one of kind of the first calls, or the second call, where we were weaving our pearl with our profile and our incarnation cross, which was an assignment that I gave. And I remember that I laid that seed inside my consciousness, and then just waited for the moment that the download came. And it came that afternoon, like only just a few hours before. And I wrote it all down, and then I read it in front of the group. So I was listening in third person now to myself, sharing what had came through me. And I was like, whoa. You know, I weaved all, like we're doing that kind of right now. I was weaving all my open centers with my defined centers, with my channel and such. You know, so I don't know where I was going with that, but it was funny, because you reminded me now of that moment in this afternoon, that I'm kind of doing the same in here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the wisdom that for me that's coming through you right now is that what I feel like your soul is sharing with my soul is that it's more complicated than just understanding the open centers. And that's what that it's really about. It's not just about the open center. It's in the context of a defined center, of a channel, of a, you know, it's all the layers that you can't tell how fine the weave is if you're only pulling one string.
Yeah. And now I'm 44.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is relating to something else that you were scratching at, or I think trying to provoke in me, which is that in a group call, it's hard to get to the fabric. It's easy to get to the thread.
Right.
So that when we're one-on-one like this, we actually can get to the whole context.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm being pulled by a thread to your 44 in this. And I was seeing you were showing, the fabric, and I was seeing you knitting with all the threads. And I'm sensing with you now that because you're 63 and you're 64, and I believe you even have 61. I'm not sure in my head because because you have even, I feel that desire to know, and so you want to dissect everything before you think you can knit.
That's true.
But you don't have to dissect a fabric that's already woven. So
that is true. That was a beautiful knowing.
Isn't this fun?
It is. I feel so alive. Like there are moments in my life where I feel like my bell is so when you tap, like my field has been tapped, and now every light is going to be green. Everything I want at the grocery store is going to be there. Everything is going to be like, that's what's so powerful to me.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, you should be selling me inspiration. Laura, I don't feel that I sparked you in a sense.
I should be selling you inspiration but I'm not. But I'm so present with you. I think this is important. There's something here because I'm not selling anything. I'm just being.
I know. But but that is, I think I'm not sure if we talked about it, but everything about making money is not the not self. And do I have even a
So whether I'm selling or buying, it's all about the not self.
It's all about the not self.
So if I'm selling to from my open centers, and I'm selling to your open centers. So
or you're even selling from your defined centers, but you're selling to the open centers. But you can sell from both.
Okay.
And it's not only if you have a third line, but if you even want to manipulate it even further to the not self, you have to do the selling from a third line perspective.
Right, because he says the physical plane, and that's where the selling occurs. It's
right. And the experimental way is there. So the trial and error. So you really know how everything works because you've done it, been there, got a t-shirt, lost one.
This is so funny because even with my clients, like I don't take ads. I don't care. I'm not promoting myself.
Me neither. No.
People promote me and people call me. And that's how it works, because otherwise it's a shit show. Yeah. It ain't going to work out for me.
And the funny thing is, maybe that is because you have the 44 and not the 26, and I have the 26 in an open center. I don't like selling myself, but I would love to sell you.
And I would love to sell you, which would be so easy, right?
Yeah, for me, it's easier to sell and promote other people and create advertisement for them. But for me,
and there's no judgment there.
Yeah. No judgment.
But I wonder if that is a quality of the 4-6 in general, when the 4-6 has gone to the root.
I think so. If they are aligned and in their true self and not in the shadow, so in a higher frequency, I feel the 6 is, because it's looking beyond and seeing all the dirt over here, they can look not down at people, but they can look down and give a hand, is what I feel. I feel the sixth line is someone, or the six lines are people that are up that mountain climbing, you know, even with you, it's like climbing that mountain of consciousness, and then seeing all the people down in the dirt and then empathizing with them, like, you don't need to be there, let me show you the way, give me your hand. And then other people who are maybe older or became more aware before me, they pull me up with their hand. And that's how we, you know, we as a humanity can reach a higher level of awareness and consciousness and humanity, because the 36 is about humanity.
Yeah, I mean, as I was listening to you, one of my favorite sayings is, high water floats all boats.
Yeah.
When you bring the best of you and I bring the best of me and he and she, and we all bring that, high water lifts us all up.
Right. Right.
You know.
Yeah, and that's really the vision I feel, because I'm feeling what you're saying is even what I was bringing, what I'm mostly bringing when I'm in groups, that when we bring all our gifts to the table, there's so much abundance that if we share it, we can all thrive, you know. It's like what you're saying, if you bring your boat, my best boat, and in the water, you know, we just, yeah.
I just had an awareness that, you know, for me, I always tied that to the 44 in me.
And I tied to my 45, but they, you know, they're next to each other.
And then I was like, oh, we're talking about the 44. And then I was like, I think Corrinda has the 26.
Yes, yeah, true. Yeah. We have a connection there. It's that synergy. And, you know, it's a synarchy and synergy. And I almost feel that there's an equality in both of them. Only, yeah, the 44 comes from, you know, an awareness center, the intuitive, instinctive awareness center. It's like this bodily knowing. And for me, it's just, I'm just a voice, you know, because the 21 is the true authority behind the 45. The 45 is just a spokesperson. So I would have a counselor, which is the real manager. And I'm the head of state, I'm the queen. And I just listen to my advisor. And that's what I regurgitate what he's been saying. Well, not quite, because I do feel like I have my own opinion, but I love listening to other people's perspectives and then go like, okay. And then I kind of mix it in. If it's according to my truth, of what I truly believe that is the truth that's being said, and it's for the good of the whole. But I'm also feeling that the 44 has a kind of similar taste to it.
Yeah, and that's to me, your 4-6, you know, the 6 wisdom, the 4, you know, the socialness of the 4, listening, taking it all in, and then your 6 is like,
what's cooking?
Yeah, what's in this? Where's the wisdom here? Oh, I'm enjoying it. It's juicy because there's other people, and my 4 likes being around the other people in this group that's so luscious. And my 6 is like, oh, yeah, I want to take that in. That's some high water here. Let's float up a little bit with that. Yeah.
Do you feel that for yourself as well? Because you have more openness, so maybe a group, you know, a projector, as they say, it's mostly for one-on-one, but you're a 4-6. So I do feel, and then having that 44, maybe you've tried it with groups. And how did that feel for you?
In that particular group, I was very aware of who could receive me and who could not. I was very aware that I overwhelmed some people, and some people were just, you know, drinking it all in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really aware of, I became aware over time of not overwhelming, you know, that.
What do you think that overwhelmed them? Do you think it's your 4130? It's the emotion. I'm saying that because I felt like I was doing that, and because it's, you know, that emotional stream. I was wondering how that worked for you. How did you?
I think it was probably the combination of the 4130 and the 63-4, that my capacity to persist through feelings and feel through persistence combined with solving, because I mean, I was reading the field, you know, like I wasn't even trying. I was just so aware of, you know.
You were kind of annoying to them because you were bringing truth, and they were like, we're not ready yet.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes I couldn't help myself. Sometimes I went into the not self of, you know, my 36 was bridged and I was going to tell it because it was imperative.
And then your 35 was like, yummy, I've got a new adventure.
But, you know, sometimes it was just like, okay, just stay at the back of the room, Simone, and wait for them, just for somebody to say.